Well, we're back after a bit of a hiatus. And for those of you who have gotten the Mama Says Namaste newsletter, you're privy a little bit to what's going on in our lives. So this week, we'll share a bit on a personal note of the season we are navigating together as a family, as well as a little bit more about what the future of Namaste holds.
Namaste?
I just said Namaste.
You did.
Maybe it should be Namaste. Mama Says Namaste.
Mama Says Namaste. Mama Says Namaste.
Making a family can be easy and fun.
Oh yeah, but raising a family can be a whole different story.
From spouses to kids to the crazy daily grind, life often directs us away from connection and more into reactive chaos.
If you're tired of that cycle and are seeking something beyond the picket fence blues, this is the show for you.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Nathan.
And we're here to take you from chaos to clarity by bringing awareness and intention into your home, not waiting for one day, and highlighting how the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us.
Take a deep breath in and let's start a brand new day. With Mama Says Namaste.
Namaste. Yes, that's kind of the way my brain is right now. It's just
Way
a
it
jumbled
feels.
mess. Yes. Years ago, I actually did get a shirt that I sold on the website for a while that said Mamaste. The mama in me sees the mama in you. And so, yeah, Mamaste is definitely a statement I say, but it's also an example of my jumbled thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, we've had, every family has those moments in life that surprise us and that you don't see coming, and they alter the way you look at things a lot of times. And we've had that happen and been going through that as a family.
Yes, life hands us curveballs, and our family has always been one to kind of roll with the seasons of life and look at life in seasonal increments. And we recognized as we were coming off of being down in the Florida Keys for the past 3 months volunteering, that we were looking at a new season coming back to our kind of home base here in Venice, Florida, or Sarasota, Florida. And December 1st, we left our volunteering position where we were at the state park down in Florida, and we came up to
Oscar Scheer.
To Oscar Scheer as volunteers up at a state park that just so happened to so conveniently be less than 3 miles from my parents' house.
That's right.
We've been excited about this next 3-month stretch of being up close to my parents and then getting settled back into our Venice house for a while and seeing what it's like to be stationary after 7 years of full-time travel in our RV, where we've had the pleasure of visiting all 48 states. We've had volunteering since 2021, and we've had a lot of great experiences. So we came back ready to jump into 3 months of volunteering and being close to grandparents. And
both of those happened.
And we are here, and we have some beautiful moments that have happened since then and have really enjoyed the volunteering process. But also amidst it all, and I know for those of you listening who knew my father, you're privy to the fact that way more than just that has happened. On December 7th, my dad, who had been having what we thought were gallbladder issues, ended up going to the doctor and finding out that he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And that started our whole family in a whirlwind of ups and downs and lots of different diagnoses and hospital visits and doctor visits and
searching for clarity.
To get us to the point on the other side of that where we are now, I guess, a month in since that diagnosis. Right at a month, right?
Yeah, in 2 days it will be 31 days.
Yeah. So we're right at a month in, and at this point, lots has changed. My father's health has declined rapidly as the cancer has not only engulfed his pancreas, but spread to his liver and to his bones. And so as it has traveled throughout his body, it has definitely worn on him a lot. And so what we thought might be a period of transition has come very fast. And so in this process, a lot of things have been thrown up in the air, including Mama Says Namaste. I mean, we've had this podcast going since 2017.
Yeah.
We've had this podcast going since 2017. We're, over 330 something episodes in, and we've had so much fun sharing. And this is the first time in following my father's footsteps of always doing a podcast. This is the first time I've ever taken a break. And last week, my father shared his very last podcast that he will ever do. Now, for those of you who don't know, my father is Dan Miller, author of 48 Days to the Work and Life You Love. He's written numerous other books like Wisdom Meets Passion and No More Dreaded Mondays, Rudder of the Day, and his latest one, An Understanding Heart. And I have been living and breathing his business, 48 Days, ever since it started. I guess started back when I was 8 years old. Mm-hmm. And from that has built into this thriving business and a community. And I've managed that for the past 20 years. I've been involved in some capacity in 48 Days. And so there's been lots of shifts. And my dad's audience of podcast audience, he gave his final goodbye to last week, and shared the message that 2 out of 3 of his children are doing their own podcasts right now. So you may be listening for that reason, and this may be the very first time you have heard about the Mama Says Namaste podcast. So I'm giving a little bit of backstory and history and all of this building up to where we are. And so, of course, everybody wants to know, how are we doing?
Yeah.
How are we navigating all of this?
Well, and that's been, quite a journey. We have been fortunate to be in a place where we have access to a lot of walking. Our camper is set aside next to a nature trail, and so as we have been kind of digesting and kind of processing the changes that have been coming down the pike,
the decisions we have to make,
the decisions that we've had to make, we have used
pain we have to feel.
We've used the power of family walks or couple walks or individual walks, where you just get a chance to clear your head and grieve your grief and work through your confusion until you come to some clarity. And that's been one way that I've noticed that we have repetitively sought shelter and grief as we've moved through this last month. There's the power of walking, and that's very, there's something very symbolic about that. If you think about the kind of the core of humanity, we always kind of, I was reading some book where they were saying if you stick enough humans together, they'll, figure out how to get together and make music, make beats. And so when you're walking, you create that kind of symbolic, that
rhythmic beat.
That rhythmic beat, which is very therapeutic.
That's so true. I was just reading in an article in a magazine in the bathroom where we have our magazines, that was talking about music therapy and the healing way that music can reach our soul, sometimes in a way that words cannot, and how often music has been used even in hospice care to help someone rest their soul, even when words are not a part of it anymore. And so we get a lot of questions on how is the family holding up, how are we navigating this? And the reality is, we as a whole family, not just Nathan and me and our children, but my parents, my brothers, and their families, we're all talking openly and regularly about this next phase. We've had a lot of beautiful conversations with the whole family, including all the grandkids. And when you count the whole family, in our whole family, that would be a whopping 29 of us, just from my parents and their 3 children. All the offspring and the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, and the significant others. We're 29 strong right now, with one more on the way.
Woohoo.
So there have been a lot of different conversations that have been had, but it has been so beautiful to see the openness and the willingness to share. And we're not denying what's coming, but recognizing part of a beautiful life is death. Yeah. And that it comes to us all. And Dad shared he has been listening to so many great things along this time too, and hearing people like Ram Dass and Alan Watts, and listening to people who have taken this journey before him, and
Quite openly.
yeah, quite openly. And yeah, Ram Dass in his, was it his documentary he was watching on coming home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about his experience and through a stroke, really, and going from stroke to, kind of dying. And I think one of the, the beautiful things about it, I was thinking about it today as I was walking, is just how much I appreciate from this experience the awareness of the, the opportunity that we do have here on earth. I was thinking about Dan and his life and how he has just swallowed up every opportunity that he could run with. And, I love to see that continue in his children and grandchildren, how they play with each other and have a good time. Man, I just went way off on a tangent.
You did. It's just so much a legacy of Dad, though. And what does this make possible?
Yeah.
And we don't have a problem. We have an opportunity for a solution.
Exactly.
And we've used so many of these Danisms. And on Dad's tribute page, which I'll link to in my notes, there are all kinds of Danisms, little statements and stories and pictures from over the years. And as we have been so saddened by the pending physical loss of Dad, what I was going to get to with the Ram Dass thing is what Ram has talked about before, and that is looking at life more like the cloud. So Ram Dass talks about how, there's, when you see a cloud and the cloud is full of this water vapor and then the cloud goes away, it's not like
the cloud's gone.
It's just changed in form.
Yeah.
And so as I've talked about this with our girls, I've talked about the fact that just like water, if you think about water in the different forms, we have our gas, we have our solid ice, we have water in the way that it flows.
And liquid, yeah.
There are these different formations of it. Water is water. There's still that presence, still that soul, that energy that can remain even when we don't see them in the physical form anymore. And
Right.
Dad is kind of starting to see how he floats between the two. And he has the beauty of that lifted veil, something that those of us who have not experienced death and dying have maybe not fully come to. And it is a peaceful calm. And it is a beauty and a serenity of us recognizing on the other side, it doesn't mean that person has to be forgotten. That doesn't mean that person doesn't still speak to us in many ways. And in our family, we've experienced a lot of death and loss, from losing loved ones at very young ages to just the passing of grandparents and things like that. And even this year, our family has already gone through the journey of losing 3 different loved ones that were friends and family that have already passed on. And so we've experienced a lot of grieving. And what we've recognized is when we face into it and we recognize it and we feel the pain, it also allows the strength to show up. I was just filming. I just had to do a video for our 48 Days community, and to do 2 videos sharing with our community how we're going to be sunsetting the whole community and shutting it down. It's a hard video to do. And my amazing, I hate to say assistant, my amazing colleague, friend, dear, trusted coworker, Sheila, was saying how she bawled through it. And I was thinking, how is it that I didn't? And I think so much of why I can be strong is because I allow myself to not be as well. And when we take those times to allow for grief and sadness to come, because it hurts. It's a transition. It's a change that I didn't ask for. I didn't want this. I sure did not want this to come on my father and for this to happen so quickly. And there's so many things I can go into how I did not want it to happen or how much it hurts. And sometimes just saying, this sucks. This absolutely sucks. I don't want this, is okay. And when we take those moments to just let the feels happen and we journal, we walk, we talk, we rest, and we do those things to give space for our souls to hurt and to heal. It allows for us to also find those moments of strength and stamina that allow us to keep going on.
Well, I remember what I was going to talk about earlier when I trailed off and I was talking about all Dan's grandkids, and I was thinking about how I was talking to Juliet about her frustration with the whole situation and how, it just sucks. And how, can't we do this, that, and the other? And I just explained to her, at this point, your papa is kind of the first person in our clan that's been really close to take this journey. And, he's a very brave soul to bring to the awareness that we're all in the same boat. We all have this illusion that that we are immortal in a way, and that we will always have tomorrow. And, it's so very, very important to, and that's what Dan has always lived, is in a set of presence for him. He's hoped for tomorrow, but he's always lived today. And, that just, he's continuing to teach those lessons as we move through this journey of, it's there's hope, and I know it's scary, but there's hope on both sides of it too.
Yeah. And so let's talk about his legacy. His legacy is not building up the 48 Days Empire. We talked a long time ago that I wasn't just a mini Dan Miller, and I wasn't just looking to move in and replace his role. We've talked often about how my passion is so much around family and the relationships and dynamics in our homes that then trickle out and create that ripple effect for the rest of our existence. And Dad's legacy is in the relationships that he has built, the things that he has fostered, the inspiration and the hope and the seeds that he has planted in so many people through his books, through his podcasts, through simply people just meeting him. And my goal is to continue to carry an element of his legacy on here in what we do with Mama Says Namaste. And I've always dreamed of having a podcast very similar to Dad's, where it was Ask Dan, Ask Ashley and Nathan, Ask Mama Stay.
You secretly wanted to be the author of the Ask Judy in the newspaper.
Oh my goodness. I always dreamed of doing that and just answering questions. And I love doing that. And I love brainstorming and working with people through things that are challenging topics or frustrating things at home. So as we move forward with what Mama Says Namaste looks like and what this podcast is going to do, since 2017, we have been doing a weekly podcast. In light of where we are right now, we're going to scale that back a little bit, and we're going to do a bi-weekly podcast. Again, I welcome your questions and for us to be able to address those. And otherwise, we'll be bringing topics that we do feel are relevant for families. So what all do we do here on the podcast? I like to sum up a lot of it just with one quote, and that's from Seth Godin. And he says, instead of wondering when your next vacation will be, why not create a life you don't want to escape from? And that's our goal with Mama Says Namaste podcast here. Our goal is to help you look and create a life you don't want to escape from. Your life is very different than mine. It's not about you all creating the same story that Nathan and I have written, but it's looking at all of the different areas of life, your marriage, parenting, your schooling options, whatever it is.
Your relationships at work.
Your sanity around clutter, clearing your home, your head, and your heart from clutter. Understanding the different dynamics of different personalities that may be bouncing around in your home and how you can collaborate and work together so that the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us.
I thought we were closing it.
I know. That's my tagline at the end. We want to answer these questions. We talk a lot about the different dynamics at home, recognizing that Nathan and I both have done a lot of non-traditional things when it comes to entrepreneurial world, from shifting roles in the household, non-traditional schooling options with our kids, traveling and RVing the States full time.
And yet we've come from very traditional foundations where We were not planning on doing any of that.
Nope.
I started out as a banker with a tie, and you started out as a mama with a part-time job.
Hoping to be a stay-at-home mama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our lives have taken lots of turns, and your life will take lots of turns. There are seasons in your life, some of them desired and anticipated with eagerness, some of them not so much. So how are you going to navigate it? We want to walk with you through it and hear from you on what this does make possible. What questions do you have? What are you struggling with in your home? And we want to bring more of those to you. And by scaling back to 2 times a month, that allows us a little bit more bandwidth to be with our family now as we're still navigating, walking my father home and preparing him for his next journey, and then walking with my mother as she embarks on a whole new season in her life. So while we navigate what this makes possible in the next chapter in our own lives, we invite you to do the same. What does 2024 look like for you? What do you want to cultivate and create? What relationships do you want to foster? What legacy, beyond money, are you going to be leaving here in this world? Hold your family close. Tell them you love them. Remember those people and the ripple effect of the impact you make in this life. And remember, the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us. Namaste.
1, 2, 3. Up with the rising sun, already on the run. Mama says namaste. Life is a tangled mess, and you don't have to stress. Mama says namaste. 'Cause today I will stand up and be all the change that I want to see in this world. Boys and girls, you gotta have to stand up to be free. Namaste in your home. Take a deep breath in and let's start a brand new day. With Mama Says Namaste.